Imagine, over the course of a few short months, you fall deeply in love. You feel seen, cherished, and for the first time in what feels like a lifetime, you're not just dreaming about the future, you are actively planning it with someone you trust completely. Now, imagine waking up one morning to discover that person has vanished. They never existed. And with them, your entire life savings, your retirement, and the financial security you spent decades building.
Every single penny. It's a violation that's hard to put into words. My retirement, the money I had carefully set aside for my children's futures, the equity I'd painstakingly built in my home over 30 years, all of it just gone, siphoned away by a person who was nothing more than a ghost, a carefully constructed fiction designed to prey on me.
It's a sophisticated and devastatingly effective scam, and it goes by a horrifically crude name: pig butchering.
The name is as brutal as the crime itself. They see you as a pig they need to fatten up. They study you, learn your vulnerabilities, and then they shower you with affection and false promises, meticulously building a fantasy of a beautiful future together. They make you believe in it with all your heart, all before they lead you to the slaughter and take everything you have. And for me, this entire nightmare, this complete dismantling of my life, started with a simple, innocuous text message, a trap I walked right into with my eyes wide open.
She can't get her money back. The law enforcement agents she spoke to were sympathetic, but made it clear that recovery is nearly impossible. The person she thought she knew is a phantom, their digital footprint erased. But she is here today to do the one thing she still has the power to do: to pull back the curtain on their playbook, to dissect their methods, and to show you, step by step, exactly how they orchestrate this ruin, so that what happened to her never ever happens to you. So, take us back to the very beginning, the first point of contact. How did this all start?
It was so utterly normal. That's the terrifying part. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was pulling weeds in my garden. My phone buzzed, and it was a text from a number I didn't recognize. It read, "Hey, is this Sarah? It was wonderful catching up at the architecture conference last week. I'm still thinking about our conversation on sustainable design." I just replied politely, as anyone would, "Sorry, I'm not Sarah. I think you have the wrong number."
And in 99.9% of cases, that would be the end of it, a simple, forgotten digital mishap.
Exactly. I thought it was over, but a few minutes later, another message came through. "Oh my goodness, I am so terribly sorry to have bothered you. I must have keyed in the number incorrectly. Please accept my apologies." It was polite, almost formal. I replied, "No problem at all." And then he wrote back, "Well, since fate has a funny way of connecting people, and to make up for my clumsy intrusion, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Leo." Against my better judgment, I wrote back,
Why do you think you did? What was it about that moment that made you continue the conversation?
Looking back, it was a perfect storm of circumstances. I was profoundly lonely. My husband, David, had passed away 3 years prior after a long illness. My kids were grown and leading their own busy lives. The silence in my house, the one we had filled with so much life, could be deafening. His message, it was a small, unexpected spark in a very quiet, gray existence. It was potential, and I hadn't realized how starved I was for it.
So you and Leo started talking. What was the persona he created? What was he like?
He was everything I would have dreamed up. He said he was an architect based in Singapore, working on a major sustainable resort project. His profile picture, which he sent a few days later, showed a handsome, silver-haired man in his late 50s with the kindest eyes you've ever seen. He seemed worldly, sophisticated, successful. He told me he was a widower, too, that his wife had died of cancer 5 years ago. We bonded deeply over that shared grief. He spoke of it with such sensitivity. Soon, talking to him became the anchor of my day. The first message would arrive like clockwork. "Good morning, my dear," it would always start. "I hope you slept peacefully." He sent me pictures of his meals, stunning photos of the Singapore skyline from his office window, even pictures of a golden retriever he said was named Max that he missed terribly back home.
This is a textbook scammer tactic known as love bombing, overwhelming a target with constant attention and affection to build trust and dependency very quickly.
It was a masterclass in psychological manipulation. For the first time in years, I felt completely and utterly cherished. He remembered every little thing I told him. I once mentioned offhandedly that I loved yellow roses because they were my mother's favorite. 3 days later, a digital gift certificate for a floral delivery service arrived in my email. "For your beautiful garden and your beautiful heart," the message read. He remembered my dog's name, that I had a slight obsession with a particular British baking show. Within weeks, he wasn't just flirting, he was talking about our future. He spoke of finishing his project in Singapore and moving to my city, of buying a house together, of traveling the world. He was selling me the cure to my loneliness, and I bought every word.
Looking back now with the clarity of hindsight, were there any red flags you can identify during this period?
Oh, they were everywhere, waving furiously, but I was willfully blind to them. The most obvious one was that we never had a proper video call. I asked several times, but there was always a plausible, tech-related excuse. "My love, the internet connection in this temporary apartment is dreadful for video streaming," or "My front-facing camera on my work phone is broken, and my personal phone is back in my flat." Once he even said his project had a strict no video call policy for security reasons. His English was impeccable, but he sometimes used odd, overly formal phrases that felt slightly out of place, almost like they were from a script. But I wanted to believe him so badly. The feeling of being loved again was like a powerful drug. It completely numbed my intuition.
So you and Leo started talking. What was the persona he created? What was he like?
He was everything I would have dreamed up. He said he was an architect based in Singapore, working on a major sustainable resort project. His profile picture, which he sent a few days later, showed a handsome, silver-haired man in his late 50s with the kindest eyes you've ever seen. He seemed worldly, sophisticated, successful. He told me he was a widower too, that his wife had died of cancer 5 years ago. We bonded deeply over that shared grief. He spoke of it with such sensitivity. Soon, talking to him became the anchor of my day. The first message would arrive like clockwork. "Good morning, my dear," it would always start. "I hope you slept peacefully." He sent me pictures of his meals, stunning photos of the Singapore skyline from his office window, even pictures of a golden retriever he said was named Max that he missed terribly back home.
This is a textbook scammer tactic known as love bombing, overwhelming a target with constant attention and affection to build trust and dependency very quickly.
It was a masterclass in psychological manipulation. For the first time in years, I felt completely and utterly cherished. He remembered every little thing I told him. I once mentioned offhandedly that I loved yellow roses because they were my mother's favorite. 3 days later, a digital gift certificate for a floral delivery service arrived in my email. "For your beautiful garden and your beautiful heart," the message read. He remembered my dog's name, that I had a slight obsession with a particular British baking show. Within weeks, he wasn't just flirting, he was talking about our future. He spoke of finishing his project in Singapore and moving to my city, of buying a house together, of traveling the world. He was selling me the cure to my loneliness, and I bought every word.
Looking back now with the clarity of hindsight, were there any red flags you can identify during this period?
Oh, they were everywhere, waving furiously, but I was willfully blind to them. The most obvious one was that we never had a proper video call. I asked several times, but there was always a plausible, tech-related excuse. "My love, the internet connection in this temporary apartment is dreadful for video streaming," or "My front-facing camera on my work phone is broken, and my personal phone is back in my flat." Once he even said his project had a strict no video call policy for security reasons. His English was impeccable, but he sometimes used odd, overly formal phrases that felt slightly out of place, almost like they were from a script. But I wanted to believe him so badly. The feeling of being loved again was like a powerful drug. It completely numbed my intuition.
So you and Leo started talking. What was the persona he created? What was he like?
He was everything I would have dreamed up. He said he was an architect based in Singapore, working on a major sustainable resort project. His profile picture, which he sent a few days later, showed a handsome, silver-haired man in his late 50s with the kindest eyes you've ever seen. He seemed worldly, sophisticated, successful. He told me he was a widower too, that his wife had died of cancer 5 years ago. We bonded deeply over that shared grief. He spoke of it with such sensitivity. Soon, talking to him became the anchor of my day. The first message would arrive like clockwork. "Good morning, my dear," it would always start. "I hope you slept peacefully." He sent me pictures of his meals, stunning photos of the Singapore skyline from his office window, even pictures of a golden retriever he said was named Max that he missed terribly back home.
This is a textbook scammer tactic known as love bombing, overwhelming a target with constant attention and affection to build trust and dependency very quickly.
It was a masterclass in psychological manipulation. For the first time in years, I felt completely and utterly cherished. He remembered every little thing I told him. I once mentioned,
So he's established this deep emotional connection and positioned himself as a financial expert. How did he finally make that pivot from romance to ask him for your money?
It was so smooth, so insidious that I barely noticed it was happening. It wasn't a blunt demand for money. It was framed as a generous, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me, for us. He sent me a screenshot one evening from his trading account. The balance was astonishing, over $2.3 million. The chart showed a sharp, dramatic upward curve. "Another wonderful day, my dear," he messaged. "My uncle's guidance is truly a gift."
And what was your immediate reaction to seeing that?
I was floored, of course, but also intimidated. I told him, "Leo, that's incredible, but I don't know the first thing about cryptocurrency. It seems so complicated and risky." I felt like it was a world I could never understand.
A reaction they fully expect and have a script for.
His response was perfect, designed to disarm all my fears. "Don't you worry your beautiful head about that for 1 second, my dear. That's what I'm here for. I will walk you through every single step. Think of it as our little project, a venture we build together." He made it sound like an act of love, another shared activity for us to bond over. He suggested I start with a very small, almost trivial amount, just $1,000, simply to get comfortable and see for myself how it all worked. "You'll see how safe it is," he promised.
Walk me through that initial process. How did he guide you?
The first steps felt entirely legitimate, which was key to the whole con. First, he had me download a well-known, legitimate crypto app, Coinbase, to buy my first Bitcoin. Using a real, trusted service at the beginning made everything feel secure and above board. Then, once I had the Bitcoin, he sent me a link to a trading platform he claimed to use. "This is a boutique platform my uncle has an interest in," he explained. "It has much better fee structures and faster execution than the big public ones." The website looked incredibly professional. It was called Apex Finance Global, or something equally official sounding. It had real-time charts that were constantly moving, a news ticker, a professional logo, even a 24/7 customer service chat window.
But this website was a complete fabrication, a sophisticated puppet theater controlled entirely by the scammers.
A complete and utter fake. I followed his instructions, transferring the $1,000 worth of crypto from my secure Coinbase wallet to my new trading account on his platform. I was nervous, but he was on the phone with me, his voice a steady, calming presence. The next day, he called me excited. "My love, my uncle just gave me a signal. There's a short-term arbitrage opportunity. You must act now." He gave me precise instructions, which buttons to click, what numbers to enter. I did as he said, and just like that, I watched my balance on the screen jump from $1,000 to nearly $1,200 in a matter of minutes. It felt like magic. It was exhilarating.
And then came the most crucial part of the con. The move that cements the victim's trust completely.
Yes, to seal the deal and erase any lingering doubt, he told me to test a withdrawal. I want you to be 100% confident, my dear, he said. Take out your original $1,000 and even a little profit. I want you to see with your own eyes that your money is safe and you have full control. I was hesitant, but he insisted. I put in a withdrawal request for $1,100. There was an official-looking processing notification. The next day, the money was back in my bank account.
That successful withdrawal is the scammer's best investment. They willingly sacrifice a small amount of money up front to buy your total, absolute, unquestioning trust.
It worked perfectly. It erased every doubt I had left. The platform was real, the profits were real, and I could get my money out whenever I wanted. That's what I believed. Now that I was a true believer, the real pressure began. He told me about a huge once-in-a-year market event that was coming up, a window where massive gains were practically guaranteed. He started by convincing me to put in my liquid savings, about $20,000. He walked me through the transfer. On the fake website, I watched it grow to over $30,000 in a week. It felt like magic. It was exhilarating.
But that initial investment wasn't enough for him.
Not even close. Now that he had my trust, he started asking about my retirement accounts, my 401k. I was terrified to touch that money. It was my entire future. But he was a master manipulator. He skillfully turned my hesitation into an attack on our relationship. He used our love like a weapon. Don't you trust me, my love? After everything we've shared? This isn't for me, it's for us. It's for the home we're going to buy, the life we're going to build. He made my caution feel like a personal betrayal.
So you liquidated your retirement funds?
Yes, it was one of the worst days of my life. I had to call my financial advisor, a man I'd worked with for 15 years, and lie to his face. I told him I was consolidating my assets for a real estate purchase. He asked questions, he was concerned, but I held the line, repeating the script Leo had coached me on. Over the next few weeks, I sent it all. It was a cascade of wire transfers, 100,000, then another 200,000. Then he convinced me to take out a home equity line of credit. It's borrowing against an asset to create an even bigger asset, he explained enthusiastically. My account balance on the glowing screen of the fake website soared. It climbed past 1 million, then 2 million. I felt like a genius. I started looking at real estate listings, sending him links to houses, planning where we'd put the furniture. I had given him everything I had and everything I could borrow. The pig was as fat as it could possibly get. I had absolutely no idea the butcher was sharpening his knife.
You're looking at a screen that says you have over $2 million. You're planning a future. When did the first crack in this perfect fairy tale appear?
It began the moment I tried to use a small portion of the profits. My daughter was getting married, and I wanted to give her and her fiancé a significant gift, $50,000, to help with the down payment for their first house. It felt like the perfect use for this incredible wealth I'd accumulated. I told Leo about my plan, expecting him to be thrilled. Instead, for the first time in our entire relationship, there was a chill in his response. The warmth was just gone.
What was the reason he gave for this change in tone? What was the new obstacle?
He said that for a withdrawal of that size, the platform's compliance department required me to pay a 20% capital gains tax on my total profits first. I looked at the account, and the fake number on the screen showed a profit of over $1.8 million. That meant I suddenly had to come up with over $360,000 new money.
And here's the devastating catch, I assume. The tax couldn't be paid from the millions of dollars of profit sitting right there in the account.
Exactly. It had to be new money sent from an external source to a separate tax wallet for auditing purposes. A cold, heavy knot of dread started to form in the pit of my stomach. It didn't make any sense. I asked him, why can't they just take it from the account? He had a smooth, pre-packaged answer about international anti-money laundering regulations and financial compliance protocols. He sent me a doctored official document that looked like a letter from a regulatory body. He even said, "Don't worry, my love, I just had to pay mine as well. It's the final hurdle. We are so close to our new life."
But you didn't have any more money to give. You had nothing left.
I had given him everything, every last cent. When I told him this, that there was literally nothing left to give, the loving, patient partner I thought I knew completely vanished. It was like a mask dropped. The psychological manipulation turned instantly aggressive. "What do you mean you don't have it?" he shot back in a text, the words sharp and cold. "This is our future. Are you not serious about this? Find a way. You have to find a way. Borrow it from friends, from your family. Sell your car."
The dream was rapidly turning into a high-pressure nightmare.
She was relentless. The loving good morning texts were replaced by a constant barrage of angry, demanding commands. "Have you called your friend Carol yet? Did you apply for more credit cards?" He insulted my intelligence. He questioned my love for him. I was so broken and desperate to believe that the dream was still real, that this was just a stressful misunderstanding, that I actually started calling friends, burning with a shame so profound it felt like a physical illness. Each rejection was a fresh wave of humiliation.
What was the final moment? The point where the entire illusion shattered for good?
It was about 2 a.m. I couldn't sleep. I was sitting at my kitchen table, my head in my hands, just cycling through the panic and confusion. I started typing frantic search terms into my computer: international crypto taxes, crypto withdrawal fees, Apex Finance global review. And then I saw it. An article with the headline, "The Pig Butchering Scam: How Romance and Crypto Combine to Devastate Victims." I clicked on it. I started reading stories from other victims, and it was like reading a script of my own life for the past 4 months. The wrong number text, the move to WhatsApp, the successful small withdrawal, and then the final brutal trap, the demand for a fake tax or fee to unlock their funds.
It all clicked into place.
Every word, every sentence hit me like a physical blow. I felt the air leave my lungs. The man I loved, the future I had planned, the fortune I thought I had built. It was all a sick, elaborate, predatory lie. My hands were shaking, but I picked up my phone and sent one last message to the number I had texted every day for months. "You're a scammer. It's all fake, isn't it? The platform, the money, the uncle, you."
What did he say?
The reply was instant. All pretense was gone. There was no more charm, no feigned love, just pure, cold cruelty. "You are a stupid, greedy old woman. You deserved it." And then he was gone. His profile picture on WhatsApp vanished, replaced by the generic gray icon. The number was disconnected. I frantically typed in the web address for the trading platform, and a blank white screen appeared with a single brutal message: 404 not found.
The aftermath of that moment must be impossible to describe.
The financial loss is catastrophic. I lost my home. I lost my retirement. I'm in debt that I will likely never be able to repay. But the emotional and psychological devastation is infinitely worse. It's a level of violation that goes beyond theft. To know that the person you confided in, the person you shared your deepest vulnerabilities and dreams with, was meticulously plotting your complete financial ruin from the very first hello. The humiliation is an ocean. You question your own sanity, your own judgment. Some victims are so utterly devastated by this feeling of shame and loss that they end their own lives. There were days I understood why.
You reported all of this, every detail, every transaction, to the local police and the FBI. Is there any hope of getting the money back?
They were kind and they took a detailed report, but the hard truth, which they were very clear about, is that it's nearly impossible to recover the funds. These aren't small-time crooks. They are sophisticated transnational criminal networks, often using trafficked and enslaved workers in compounds in Southeast Asia. And once the money is converted to cryptocurrency and sent through a series of wallets, it vanishes into the digital ether, laundered and gone within hours.
In 2025 alone, projections suggest these scams could steal over $17 billion from victims worldwide. It is a massive global crisis. This is why you're speaking out, despite the immense personal pain.
Yes. Awareness is the only real weapon we have against them. They are still out there right now, sending those first wrong number texts looking for their next target. If I can prevent one person from answering that text, it's worth it.
So let's list the red flags, the clear warnings that you wish you had heeded. What should people be looking for?
First, be incredibly suspicious of any unsolicited contact, a wrong number text, a random social media message, a friend request from a stranger. It often starts with a seemingly innocent mistake. Second, if they almost immediately try to move you to a more private, encrypted chat app like WhatsApp or Telegram, that is a major warning sign. They want to get you away from any platform that might monitor for fraudulent activity.
And a huge one you mentioned earlier was the persistent lack of video calls.
Absolutely. If they consistently have excuses for why they can't have a live, real-time video call, it's almost certainly because the person in the pictures is not the person you're talking to. The excuses can be very creative: a broken camera, bad internet, security protocols at work, but the result is the same. No video, no verification. Run.
And perhaps the most important, the absolute non-negotiable takeaway from your story.
If someone you have only met online in a romantic context starts giving you financial advice, especially about cryptocurrency with promises of guaranteed, unusually high returns, it is always a scam, 100% of the time. There are no exceptions to this rule. Love and investment tips should never, ever come from the same unverified online source.
They also use tactics of pressure and urgency to overwhelm your rational mind.
Yes, they manufacture crises or once-in-a-lifetime opportunities to force you to act quickly without thinking. And they work to isolate you from your support network. They'll say your family won't understand or that your friends are jealous. Talk to your family and friends. An outside perspective can see the red flags that you're too emotionally invested to notice. My life will never be the same. The financial recovery is a mountain I may never climb. But if my pain, my humiliation can be a shield for even one person listening to this story, if it can stop them from falling into this hell, then sharing my story is worth it. Please share this with your parents, your friends, anyone who might be vulnerable. Don't let them become another pig for the slaughter.
Thank you for your incredible courage in sharing this harrowing story. Her experience is a stark testament to the fact that this can happen to anyone, regardless of intelligence or background. These scams are designed to bypass logic and target the heart. Our mission here is to bring you the stories that matter, the warnings that can save you. If you believe in that mission, don't just subscribe, hit that notification bell, because our next episode might just be the one that protects you or someone you love. Join our community and let's watch out for each other.